Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to day 15 of our Bhakti Vaibhava seminar on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6. And we are moving on to the 7th chapter of the 6th canto, which is titled Indra Offends His Spiritual Master, Brihaspati. First of all, our prayers. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Jatarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, right. So, we are now in the 7th chapter, chapter 7 of the 6th canto, and that 7th chapter, as we mentioned, is titled Indra Offends His Spiritual Master, Brihaspati. Yes, okay. So, there are 40 verses in this chapter. Well, actually, first of all, though, let me just read a little bit from the introduction to the chapter by Srila Prabhupada. So here, Prabhupada explains how Indra offended Brihaspati, who then left the demigods. In the absence of Brihaspati, the demigods asked Vishvarupa, the son of Twashta, to become their priest. And anyway, Twashta is the name of Vishvakarma. Anyway, okay, it'll all be clear as we go on. So right, the sections, there are 7 sections. First section is just verse 1. Parikshit asks why Brihaspati rejected the demigods. 2, verse 2 to verse 17, is a description of the offense of Indra. Section 3, verse 18 to verse 19, the demons attack the demigods. Section 4, verse 20 to verse 25, Lord Brahma instructs the demigods. 5th section, verse 26 to verse 33, the demigods accept Vishvarupa as their priest. 6th section, verse 34 to verse 38, Vishvarupa addresses the demigods. 7th section, verses 39 and 40, Vishvarupa gives Indra the Narayan Kavacha prayer. Right, okay. So first section is just the first verse. Parikshit asks why Brihaspati rejected the demigods. Verse 1, Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Shukadev Goswami, O great sage, why did the spiritual master of the demigods, Brihaspati, reject the demigods who were his own disciples? What offense did the demigods commit against their spiritual master? Please describe to me this incident. Yes, so there's very short purport here. Prabhupada says, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, The 7th chapter describes how Brihaspati was offended by the demigods, how he left them, and the demigods were defeated, and how the demigods, following the instructions of Lord Brahma, accepted Vishvarupa as the priest to perform their sacrifice. So, 2nd section, verse 2 to verse 17, description of the offense of Indra. Let's have a look here. Yes, well, there's definitely some purports, although the first so many verses don't have purports. First, was about 10 almost. So, okay, here we go. Verses 2 to 8. Shukadev Goswami said, O king, once upon a time the king of heaven, Indra, being extremely proud because of his great opulence of the 3 worlds, transgressed the laws of Vedic etiquette. Seated on his throne, he was surrounded by the Maruts, the Vasus, the Rudras, Adityas, Ribus, Vishvadevas, Sadhyas, Ashvini Kumars, Siddhas, Charanas, and Gandharvas, and by great saintly persons. Also surrounding him were the Vidyadharas, Apsaras, Kinnaras, Patagas, the birds, and Uragas, the snakes. All of them were offering Indra their respects and services, and the Apsaras and Gandharvas were dancing and singing with very sweet musical instruments. Over Indra's head was a white umbrella as effulgent as the full moon, fanned by yak-tail whisks. It's another name for chamaras, and served with all the paraphernalia of a great king. Indra was sitting with his wife Sachi Devi, who occupied half the throne, when the great sage Brihaspati appeared in that assembly. Brihaspati, the best of the sages, was the spiritual master of Indra and the demigods, and was respected by the demigods and demons alike. Nevertheless, although Indra saw his spiritual master before him, he did not rise from his own seat or offer a seat to his spiritual master, nor did Indra offer him a respectful welcome. Indra did nothing to show him respect. Verse 9. Brihaspati knew everything that would happen in the future. Seeing Indra's transgression of etiquette, he completely understood that Indra was puffed up by his material opulence. Although able to curse Indra, he did not do so. Instead, he left the assembly and in silence returned to his home. Verse 10. Indra, the king of heaven, could immediately understand his mistake. Realizing he had disrespected his spiritual master, he condemned himself in the presence of all the members of the assembly. Verse 11, this is now Indra speaking. Alas, what a regrettable deed I have committed because of my lack of intelligence and my pride in my material opulences. I failed to show respect to my spiritual master when he entered this assembly, and thus I have insulted him. There's no purport here, but we can just mention that Prabhupada mentions, on a number of occasions, Prabhupada mentions that one should offer obeisances to the spiritual master anytime one sees the spiritual master. And would you believe that Harikesh Das, who before was GBC in sort of Northern Europe, basically Northern Europe, he told me personally that when he was in South Africa with Srila Prabhupada, in Johannesburg, in Yeovil, Johannesburg, that he, Harikesh, would have to go in and out of the room numerous times, doing special things for Srila Prabhupada, numerous times. But each time he made a point of offering his obeisances and actually offering his dandavats on the floor to Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada appreciated that very much. And Prabhupada told him, he said, yes, some devotees are first class, respectful to the spiritual master, but you are Dandavats class, which Harikesh took to mean a special class of especially appreciated disciples. But anyway, one should always offer obeisances to the spiritual master when one sees the spiritual master. And a sannyasi, any sannyasi, you should offer your obeisances to him the first time you see him in the day. These are standard etiquettes. Right, so there are purports here. Having said that, the first 10 or 11 verses do not have purports. So I'm not going to read them again. Basically what's discussed there is how Indra was sitting on his throne in his palace, surrounded by so many people who are worshipping him and appreciating him in so many ways, and there were musicians and others singing and dancing for him, and so on and so forth. And it was a position of great honor in the midst of great opulence. And when Brihaspati, his spiritual master, came in, even though Indra saw him, he didn't get up to offer obeisances, nor did he even offer a seat to his spiritual master, nor did he even offer him a welcome. He didn't say anything or do anything. So he understood. Well, Brihaspati understood why that happened. And it was because Indra was just carried away, bewildered, in the midst of the opulence and so on. And he could have cursed him, but he decided not to. He decided to teach him a lesson by going away and making it difficult for Indra to find him and apologize to him. So let's read through the verses with their purports. Verse 12 says, Indra says, although I'm king of the demigods, who are situated in the mode of goodness, I was proud of a little opulence and polluted by false ego. Under the circumstances, who in this world would accept such riches at the risk of falling down? Alas, I condemn my wealth and opulence. So there's a purport here by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada refers to Lord Chaitanya, who prayed, na dhanam, na janam. He didn't want wealth, he didn't want followers, he didn't want women. He just wanted to be a faithful servant of the Lord. And according to the laws of nature and and how things work, when people become opulent, they become degraded individually and collectively. So, but anyway, the demigods are in goodness, including Indra, more or less, but sometimes even Indra falls down because of opulence. And Prabhupada says we see this in America. They have advanced materially, but have failed to produce ideal humans, except for the devotees. So now in America, there's great criminality there, and they're lamenting. Oh, it's terrible. It's amazing, actually. Yeah. And they don't know how. They just don't understand. How's it happened? Prabhupada refers to Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.31. Nate vadu swarta gatim hi vishnum. Persons who are unenlightened do not know the aim of life, which is to return home back to Godhead. So therefore, in America, individually and collectively, they try to enjoy material comforts, and they become addicted to wine and women, etc. And of course, it's not just America. It's in so many places, actually, particularly the Western world. So, Prabhupada makes the point that men produced in such a society, not just America, but in that type of society, are less than fourth class. They're actually Varna Sankara, unwanted children. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, when there's an increase of Varna Sankara, a hellish society is created. And this is the situation in America. All these violent crimes, shooting, it is absolutely shocking. So anyway, Prabhupada, second paragraph, Prabhupada says, fortunately the Hare Krishna movement has come to America. And many young men and women are taking it seriously. So ideal people at last are becoming created, following the regulative principles. So if the Americans want to curb the degradation of their country, they have to take to Krishna consciousness. They have to take to Varna ashram like this. First class, second class, third class. Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras. Now there's only fourth class. So how can a criminal society be avoided? So they should regret their mistaken advancement, as Indra here is regretting offending his guru. So Prabhupada concludes the purport by saying, they should take advice from the spiritual master, the representative of Krishna. If they do so, they'll be happy, and theirs will be an ideal nation to lead the entire world. Well, that's very nice, isn't it? There you go, Americans, devotees, go for it, please. Verse 13, if a person says, one who is situated on the exalted throne of a king should not stand up to show respect to another king or a Brahmin. So if someone says that, it is to be understood that he does not know the superior religious principles. And another purport, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says that when a resident or a king, a resident king perhaps, is sitting on the throne, he doesn't have to get up. He doesn't have to offer respect to everyone. But still he must offer respect to his superiors, like his spiritual master, Brahmins, Vaishnavas. He must do that. So there are many examples, and Prabhupada gives a nice example of Lord Krishna in Dwaraka. It's described there in the 10th canto when the Lord was sitting on his throne and Narada Muni came. Krishna stood up with his officers and ministers, etc., to offer respect. And Narada knew Krishna is the Lord, and Krishna knew Narada was his devotee, but still Krishna observed the etiquette. So, because Narada was a brahmachari, a Brahmin, and an exalted devotee, even Krishna as a king offered obeisances to Narada. This is the conduct of Vedic civilization. It is a civilization which is just saturated with respect. And we mentioned, if you remember, just some minutes ago, not long ago, how one must offer obeisances whenever one sees the spiritual master. It's very important. And how the first time you see a sannyasi, any day, first time you see a sannyasi, you must offer obeisances to them. So civilization where people don't know how a representative of Narada, representative of Lord Krishna should be respected, or how the society should be run, how one should advance in Krishna consciousness, but a civilization where people are interested only in cars and skyscrapers. They may be technologically advanced, but it's not a real human civilization. Human civilization is considered advanced when it is following Varnashram, and all the classes must be there. And people who don't know that system of Varnashram, Prabhupada says they should be considered fifth class. Prabhupada concludes the purport by saying, a society without Vedic laws and regulations will not be very helpful to humanity, as stated in this verse, Dharamam te na param vidu. Such a society does not know the aim of life and the highest principle of religion. Verse 14. Leaders who have fallen into ignorance and who mislead people by directing them to the path of distraction, as described in the previous verse, are in effect boarding a stone boat. And so too are those who blindly follow them. A stone boat would be unable to float and would sink in the water with its passengers. Similarly, those who mislead people go to hell, and their followers go with them. Prabhupada refers to Srimad Bhagavatam 11:20-17. We, the conditioned souls, have fallen in the ocean of nescience, but the human body, fortunately, provides us a good opportunity to cross the ocean, because the human body is like a very good boat. When directed by a spiritual master acting as the captain, the boat can very easily cross the ocean. Also, the boat is helped by favorable winds, which are the instructions of the Vedic knowledge. So if someone does not take advantage of these facilities to cross the ocean of Maya, he's committing suicide. So, okay, second paragraph. Of course, one who gets on a stone boat is doomed. And to come to perfection, one has to first give up the false leaders who present the boats of stone. Here, look, here's a boat, get on it. Humanity is in a dangerous position. To be rescued, it must abide by the instructions of the Vedas. And the cream of those instructions is Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna says, Sarvadharma Parityajya, just surrender to me. And we must not take shelter of other instructions. Prabhupada says, even if one doesn't accept Krishna as God, his instructions are so exalted and beneficial that anyone who follows will be saved. Otherwise, you're going to be cheated by unauthorized processes and be on a boat of stone. So unfortunately, Prabhupada says, unfortunately, many Americans patronize the makers of such boats. Yeah. They become like followers of these people who manufacture the stone boats. And so after a while, when their turn comes to get on the boat, those people, they just go down with it. Yes, so Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, I'll just read the translation. If society is guided by political diplomacy, with one nation maneuvering against another, it will certainly sink like a stone boat. Political maneuvering and diplomacy will not save human society. People must take to Krishna consciousness to understand the aim of life, to understand God, and to fulfill the human mission. Verse 15. King Indra said, therefore with great frankness and without duplicity, I shall now bow my head at the lotus feet of Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods. Because he's in the mode of goodness, he's fully aware of all knowledge and is the best of the Brahmins. Now I shall touch his feet and offer my obeisances unto him to try to satisfy him. So, there's purport here. Indra's coming to his senses, sees he's not a sincere disciple of his spiritual master. So he decides he will become a sincere disciple. He'll become nishata, non-duplicitous. So nishata shershnatach charanam sprisham. He decided to touch his feet, he decided to touch his head to the feet of his spiritual master. So from this example, we should learn a principle enunciated by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada, yasya prasada nagati katopi. That's what Prabhupada quotes. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one is benedicted by the mercy of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. So the disciple must not be unfaithful to the spiritual master or be a hypocrite. Prabhupada refers to Bhagavatam 11:17-27, which says, Acharya mam vijaniyam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead says one should respect the spiritual master, accepting him as the Lord himself. And another line from the same verse, Nava manyeta karhichit. One should not disrespect the Acharya at any time. And then another line, Namarcha buddhya suyeta. One should never think the Acharya is an ordinary person. So the Acharya is perfect Brahman, has unlimited intelligence for guiding the disciple. And so Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4:34, what does he say, 4:34? Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshati te jnanam Jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he's seen the truth. Of course, that's an extremely famous verse. So Srila Prabhupada concludes the purport by saying, one should fully surrender unto the spiritual master. And with service, sevaya, one should approach him for further spiritual enlightenment. So there's just two more verses here with no purports. I'll just read them through. 16. While Indra, the king of the demigods, thought in this way and repented in his own assembly, Brihaspati, the most powerful spiritual master, understood his mind. Thus he became invisible to Indra and left home. For Brihaspati was spiritually more powerful than King Indra. Verse 17. Although Indra searched vigorously with the assistance of the other demigods, he could not find Brihaspati. Then Indra thought, alas, my spiritual master has become dissatisfied with me, and now I have no means of achieving good fortune. So, although Indra was surrounded by demigods, he could not find peace of mind. Right, let's carry on the next section, 18 and 19. The demons attack the demigods. That's what happens when you lose the mercy. Then things start really falling apart. So now there are these two verses, 18 and 19. Neither of them has a purport, so let's just read through them. 18. Hearing of the pitiable condition of King Indra, the demons, following the instructions of their guru, Shukracharya, equipped themselves with weapons and declared war against the demigods. 19. The demigods' heads, thighs, and arms, and the other parts of their bodies were injured by the sharp arrows of the demons. The demigods headed by Indra saw no other course than to immediately approach Lord Brahma with bowed heads for shelter and proper instruction. Section 4, verse 20 to 25, Lord Brahma instructs the demigods. Verse 20, when the most powerful Lord Brahma saw the demigods coming toward him, their bodies gravely injured by the arrows of the demons, he pacified them by his great causeless mercy and spoke as follows. 21, Lord Brahma said, O best of the demigods, unfortunately because of madness resulting from your material opulence, you failed to receive Brihaspati properly when he came to your assembly. Because he's aware of the Supreme Brahman and fully in control of his senses, he is the best of the Brahmins. Therefore it is very astonishing that you have acted impudently towards him. So anyway, he's going to eventually offer respects and everything will become all right. But it's interesting here. He's blaming the other demigods. Of course, they also didn't offer respect, but he's their leader. He's like the Acharya. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so let's move on. Verse 22. Because of your misbehavior toward Brihaspati, you have been defeated by the demons. My dear demigods, since the demons were weak, having been defeated by you several times, how else could you, who were so advanced in opulence, be defeated by them? Verse 23. O Indra, your enemies, the demons, were extremely weak because of their disrespect towards Shukracharya. But since they have now worshipped Shukracharya with great devotion, they have again become powerful. By their devotion to Shukracharya, they have increased their strength so much that now they're even able to easily seize my abode from me. 24. Because of their firm determination to follow the instructions of Shukracharya, his disciples, the demons, are now unconcerned about the demigods. In fact, kings or others who have determined faith in the mercy of Brahman's cows and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and who always worship these three are always strong in their position. 25. O demigods, this is Lord Brahma speaking still. O demigods, I instruct you to approach Vishvarupa, the son of Twashta, and accept him as your guru. He is a pure and very powerful Brahmin, undergoing penances and austerities. Pleased by your worship, he will fulfill your desires, provided that you tolerate his being inclined to side with the demons. Anyway, that's going to come out as a really important point. His position is mixed. Right, okay, so let us devotees go back through this section and read it again with the purports. It's verse 20 to verse 25. Lord Brahma instructs the demigods. 20. When the most powerful Lord Brahma saw the demigods coming toward him, their bodies gravely injured by the arrows of the demons, he pacified them by his great causeless mercy and spoke as follows. Lord Brahma said, O best of the demigods, unfortunately, because of madness resulting from your material opulence, you failed to receive Brihaspati properly when he came to your assembly. Because he is aware of the Supreme Brahman and fully in control of his senses, he is the best of the Brahmins. Therefore, it's very astonishing that you have acted impudently toward him. Purport. So Brahma knows the qualifications, Brahminical qualifications of Brihaspati. Yeah, he's highly elevated. He's the spiritual master of the demigods because he is aware of the Supreme Brahman. And he's got his senses controlled, his mind is controlled. So he's a most qualified Brahmin. So Brahma's chastising the demigods for not respecting him. Yeah, and he chastised himself a bit too. Brahma is impressing on the demigods that the guru should never be disrespected. Since Brihaspati came every day, the demigods thought they didn't need to respect him. Familiarity breeds contempt. So actually all the demigods offended him. And therefore Brahma is condemning the negligence of all the demigods. And Prabhupada says, every day we sing Srila Narottam Das Thakur's song, Chakudan Dilajay Janme Janme Prabhu say. The Guru gives spiritual insight to the disciple, and therefore the Guru should be considered his master, life after life. Yeah. And Prabhupada, there's one class of Prabhupada's where this line is mentioned, and Prabhupada then repeats it, Chakudan Dilajay Janme Janme Pita say. Pita meaning father, Prabhu of course meaning master. That the one who gave me eyes, Chakshu Dan. Chakshu means eyes and Dan means devotion, donation. He donated eyes to me. I didn't have any. I was a spiritually blind person. So, Janme Janme, Prabhupada says, Janme Janme Pita say. That one who gives spiritual insight to the disciple can be considered his spiritual father, life after life. Yes, so the Guru shouldn't be disrespected under any circumstances. But the demigods, because of their material possessions, disrespected him. Prabhupada concludes the purport by saying, therefore Srimad Bhagavatam 11:17-27 advises, we just read this, 3 lines. This is Krishna speaking, Lord Krishna. Acharya mam vijaniyam navamanyeta karhachit namartya budya suyeta sarva deva mayo guru. Yes, that's the last line. Spiritual master is representative of all the demigods. Verse 22. Because of your misbehavior toward Brihaspati, you have been defeated by the demons. My dear demigods, since the demons were weak, having been defeated by you several times, how else could you, who were so advanced in opulence, be defeated by them? So a short purport here. As is well known, the demigods are famous for fighting the demons, back and forth, back and forth. Usually the demons are defeated, but this time the demigods were defeated. Why? Because the demigods disrespected their guru. And on top of that, see, there are 2 aspects of the same point. The demigods disrespected their guru, so they just lost everything. The demons respected their guru, so they were successful. Prabhupada concludes the purport by saying, as stated in the Shastras, when one disrespects a respectable superior, one loses his longevity and the results of his pious activities. And in this way, one is degraded. Okay, verse 23. O Indra, your enemies, the demons, were extremely weak because of their disrespect toward Shukracharya. But since they have now worshipped Shukracharya with great devotion, they have again become powerful. By their devotion to Shukracharya, they have increased their strength so much that now they're even able to easily seize my abode from me. Yes, so Brahma wants to make the point that the demigods, that by the strength of the Guru, by the mercy of the Guru, one can become the most powerful in the world. But by his displeasure, one can lose everything. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms this in the song, very famous, Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado, Yasya prasadan nagati kutopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one is benedicted by the mercy of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. So although the demons they're insignificant compared to Lord Brahma particularly, but because of the strength of their guru, they were so powerful they could seize Brahma Loka from Lord Brahma. Therefore, we pray to the spiritual master. Mukham karoti vachalam, pangam langayate girim, yat kripa tamaham vande, Sri Gurum Dinataranam. This is actually from Sridhar Swami's commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, verse 1, chapter 1, verse 1. By the grace of the Guru, even a dumb man can become the greatest orator. A dumb man means someone who cannot speak. Like they just they're physically unable. By the mercy of the Guru, even a dumb man can become the greatest orator, and even a lame man can cross mountains. So Srila Prabhupada concludes the purport by saying, as advised by Lord Brahma, one should remember this Shastric injunction if one desires success in his life. So just see this point of respecting the Guru and never disrespecting the Guru. It's really coming out so strongly and clearly in this chapter. Verse 24. Because of their firm determination to follow the instructions of Shukracharya, his disciples, the demons, are now unconcerned about the demigods. In fact, kings or others who have determined faith in the mercy of Brahmins, cows, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and who always worship these three, are always strong in their position. The Brahmins, one; the cows, two; Supreme Lord Krishna. They're always strong in their position. So the purport, Prabhupada says, well, from Brahma's instructions it's clear, everyone must faithfully worship Brahmins, the Lord, and the cows, because the Lord is Go Brahmana Hitayacha, always very kind to the cows and the Brahmins. So if the government worships Brahmins, cows, and Krishna, it'll never be defeated. Otherwise, it'll always be defeated. Just like now, here in South Africa, the government of the last 30 years, the ANC, has lost their position. They'll still be involved in governing, but they won't be like on their own, the sole governors. They have to accept help from other of the political groups. Yes. Verse 25. O demigods, I instruct you to approach Vishvarupa, the son of Twashta, and accept him as your guru. He is a pure and very powerful Brahmin, undergoing austerity and penances. Pleased by your worship, he will fulfill your desires, provided that you tolerate his being inclined to side with the demons. So he was in this mixed position, favorable. Well, part of his family was from the demigod side, but another part, smaller part, but still a part, was from the demon side. Yes. So anyway, we'll read how it all happens. But he was, along with doing service for the demigods, he was also doing things on the side, trying to be secretive about it, but not being secretive enough to do those things for the benefit of the demons also. So we will hear what happens to Vishvarup. So we'll finish here, and we'll carry on tomorrow with the next section. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.